We're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to what we're calling the first and hopefully last annual Crooked Media at Home Pride Parade and Fundraiser. I am John Lovett. I'm here with Travell Anderson. Hi, Travell.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm, feeling festive today, specifically for this. So I guess I'm doing all right.
I think that this is going to be a lovely event. All right.
And we're both drinking. Well, you're drinking, and I'm just sipping.
That's great. I think that's terrific. Tonight we're going to be joined by a great lineup of guests. We're going to challenge 3 LGBTQ contestants in an arts and crafts competition. We're going to hear from everyone from drag queens urging you to volunteer in swing states to gay elected officials cutting a little looser than expected. But we have a ton of special guests sharing the queerest moments of the year, the TV and movie characters they wished were gay or LGBT. And we have our pals from Keep It, Ira, Lewis, and Aida joining to give us some opinions on some things. But before we really get into it, we're doing this remotely because this year Pride is different, but it's different not just because of the pandemic. It's different because there are protests going on across the country around police brutality and racial injustice. Travell, you wrote a piece, and I wanted to talk about this because I do think it's worth, because we're going to have fun. Look, we're going to be loose and we're going to have a great time, but it's a serious moment. Very much so. And you wrote about the history of Pride as protest. And you talked about the origins of Pride. And this is about protests that even precede Stonewall. And so I just wanted to start by saying, asking you, can you talk a little bit about what you were, about some of those early protests and what they meant and how they tie into this moment?
Yeah, so most people, when they think of Pride, they think of Stonewall, right? The Stonewall uprising last year was the 50th anniversary. But, there were a lot of demonstrations happening prior to Stonewall. There was one here in Los Angeles at the Black Cat Tavern. A couple years, I believe, before Stonewall. There was one a year before that at Compton's Cafeteria in San Francisco. So this idea of protests, the social uprisings that we see out in the street, it's actually a very LGBTQ concept. This idea that we're tired, we're fed up of the way we're being treated, so we're going to get out in the streets and we're going to, hold the police accountable, and by association, hold the political establishment accountable. And I think in this particular moment, it's important for us as a community to realize probably what we should have realized a long time ago, that so many members of our LGBTQ community don't have or can't participate in a lot of the rights that we have won. And so while it's okay to, shake our ass and have a lot of fun and, wish for the go-go boys and the half-naked folks and the rainbow paraphernalia all over the place, that, at the core of Pride, it's always been about protest. And that's something that we should keep in mind.
Well, yeah, and we also, the goal of this is obviously we're going to do some fun segments, but we wanted to raise money for some causes. And the original idea when we were first talking about doing something during Pride is we realized that a lot of organizations build a lot of their fundraising for the whole year around big events during Pride. Like, this is not just a moment where we celebrate, it's a moment where a lot of organizations have visibility and have a moment to be celebrated and funded. So we wanted to make sure we're doing that. So if you go to crooked.com/Pride Fund, your donation will be split equally amongst the LGBTQ, your donation will be split among the LGBTQ plus Freedom Fund, the Trans Justice Funding Project, the Transgender Law Center, the Marsha P. Johnson Institute, and several other organizations that are doing great work right now. And we'll keep you posted over the next hour and a half to see how we're doing.
Yes, open up your purses for those of y'all who haven't been particularly impacted by Miss Rona. That means you got a couple dollars that you can give up to these organizations that are doing very important work in our communities.
Do it. And if you send a screenshot to us, we're going to share some of your messages over the course of the stream. But also, Pride is not just about what happens in June. It's about what we can do to organize and win in November. And we had some big election results this week. So we have some breaking gay news, Travell. First of all, before we even get to that, we haven't even discussed, I feel very, very proud of my floral, would you call it a tiara?
It's a lei, right?
It's a lei. No, but
is that what they call it? A crown? A flower crown?
Send us, make a comment. Whatever this is. I was very excited about it. But we do have a special guest. You know, we're still waiting on the final results from mail-in ballots, but based on last night's initial primary results, it looks like New York will be sending the first 2 openly gay Black members to Congress this year. So please welcome to the stream, Ritchie Torres.
Come on in, Ritchie. Come on in. There we go.
How you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us.
How are you?
So just for people watching, it looks like right now, you know, we're waiting for the final results, but we can safely say that Ritchie Torres defeated New York City Councilman Ruben Diaz Sr., a longtime opponent of marriage equality, who once attended a protest of an AIDS march dressed in drag as part of a march for morality. He also said he believed the New York City Council is controlled by the homosexual community, which to this day has never been proven true, sadly. I still wait for the day that we can say that the New York City Council is fully and totally controlled by homosexuals. To this day, it has not happened. So that was I think he meant it as an insult, but it's also an unmet promise. But he is the youngest elected official in New York City and the first LGBTQ Afro-Latino person elected who will be the first one elected to Congress. You just won the primary, but you know, it's a good district. It's a good district. Please welcome Ritchie Torres. Thank you for being here.
It's an honor to be here. I should note, though, every ballot has to be counted.
Every ballot has to be counted.
So technically, there's been no formal declaration of victory. Having said that, the lead is so overwhelming that it's unlikely to be overcome by the counting of new absentee ballots.
Okay. All right. I don't want to get ahead. I can be excited. You have to be measured and disciplined.
And it is true that it appears I've defeated Ruben Diaz Sr. 2-1.
Wow. Appears 2-1. All right.
Slight flex. We love to see it.
I call it poetic justice.
Poetic justice. It is poetic justice. It's pretty great.
Long overdue poetic justice.
So just tell us a little bit about how yesterday felt and how you're feeling today.
Well, first, I feel exhausted because I've been running for a Congress for more than a year and a half. It has been the craziest possible race in the craziest possible moment. During COVID-19, there was a point at which I even contracted COVID-19 in the heart of my congressional campaign. But there were 12 candidates, 5 elected officials, including a former speaker, a DNC vice chair. And, you know, the conventional wisdom held that it was a race that could not be won, that Ruben Diaz Sr. was a man who could not be beaten. He was the most powerful name in Bronx politics. He's been entrenched in office in Bronx politics longer than I've been born. He had more than 80% name recognition in the South Bronx, had an irreducible base of evangelical support, which would serve him well in a crowded, complicated race. And he once represented the largest Senate district that has the greatest overlap with the congressional district. So all the pundits were claiming I had no path. And if I could win, I would only win narrowly. And it might come as no shock that the decisive margin of victory has been an earth-shattering event in Bronx politics, that the collapse of Ruben Diaz Sr. is going to usher in a new generation of leadership. And the triumph of an openly LGBTQ candidate over the most vicious homophobe in New York State politics, that is poetic justice. I cannot think of a better way to celebrate pride than to retire the politics of Ruben Diaz Sr. and Donald Trump.
Oh, I love that. I love how you did that. That's amazing. I mean, you mentioned how there's just like a new generation of political leadership happening right now. I'm wondering for you, how does it feel to be part of this community of folks that are, you know, standing up, making their voices heard, and you being like a representative of that energy that seems to be sweeping the country?
A wise person once said that if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're probably going to be on the menu. We need more LGBTQ representation, and not only in Chelsea or the Village, we need it in places like the South Bronx, in the places that you would least expect. You know, there were some who thought that as an openly LGBTQ candidate, I could never get elected in the South Bronx because the electorate is deeply religious and there's a high density of churches. And I proved that myth is exactly that. It's a myth. It's a vicious lie. And to have an openly LGBTQ congressperson in the South Bronx is a breakthrough for LGBTQ representation. And we're living in a change political moment. This was a change election, and people were hungering for an infusion of new blood, not only in Bronx politics, but across the country. If you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, Albert Einstein said that's the definition of insanity. I think people want a new generation of leadership.
One last question for you, and thank you for taking the time during
Sure.
an incredibly busy moment for you. I saw everybody was sharing this video where you thanked your mom because it was incredibly moving. But I also want to ask you, like, what do you think it means for LGBTQ kids right now to see someone like you rising, who maybe don't always feel like they have the support of their family, who don't always feel like they have that backing?
I hope I'm living proof that your sexual identity is no barrier to how high you can rise and how far you can go, that you can be a leader at the highest levels of politics and you can be true to who you are. And part of the reason I won was not despite my sexuality, but because of it. I think voters respond well to integrity and authenticity. And that's why I won. The struggles of the South Bronx are not an abstraction to me. Right? Those are struggles that I've lived in my own life. I've experienced racism as a Black man, colorism as an Afro-Latino, homophobia as an openly LGBTQ person. And many of the voters in the South Bronx see themselves and their struggles and their own lived experiences in me. I think people want to see themselves represented in their elected officials.
Ritchie, Torres, thank you so much. I'm very hopeful that we will be able to call this a true victory soon. Good. And if that is the case, good luck in the general and good luck in Congress. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Shout out
Ritchie.
to him. Yes.
Yeah, we like him. What? You read into that.
Did I?
You read it. You did a little bit. Thank you to Ritchie Torres. Trebell, are you ready to see what crafty queer people can do in an hour with some art supplies and a dream?
Listen, I wish that I was competing.
Joining us now, we have Soren, Sheila, and the happily married Mark and Brett. Let's get them on screen. Let's get them on the blower. Mark and Brett. Let's get them on screen. I'm hearing myself. All right, that's fine. It's going to stop in a second. Oh, I also have an update for everybody. We're already at $15,000 in the fund. Let's keep it going.
Oh.
Trebell, let's not be impressed with that. We know that we can do better. It's completely unimpressive. There are so many people watching this. Somebody tell me in the Pride live stream how many people are watching so that I can harangue them at some point. We are joined by Soren, Sheila, and Mark and Brett. How are you all doing?
Terrified and good.
All right. Now listen, I don't know how excited you should be because you have volunteered to do something and you don't even yet know what it is. All right. All right. Across the country, Confederate monuments are tumbling down. I don't know about you all, but I was fully radicalized by a video of Robert E. Lee's statue being dragged through the streets while Enya was playing. Like, that's when I became a radical. That did it for me. But this raises an important Pride LGBTQ question, which is what should replace those statues? And so, craftestants. By the way, I see Mark there. I know Mark's twin brother, Donald, and it's weirding me the fuck out.
You're not the first. This is my whole life. This has been my whole life.
Wild. Doesn't matter. We're moving forward. Sheila, I apologize for that moment. It was
I'm an identical twin too.
What?
Hey!
Wow.
What? Hey, Soren, did the zygote you were a part of split in half at a key moment, or are you not a twin?
I am not a twin. I'm extremely different from my sibling.
Got it. Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't even know if I got that right. That's from 9th grade biology. I don't know. And so craft testants. Over the next hour, using the supplies you have, we are asking you to build a pride monument to honor LGBT community contributions to this country. This is about your skills, okay? But it's also about your heart and the story your monument is trying to tell. We will check in with you halfway through, and then at the end of the stream, we want to hear your explanation and show us what you've built.
Okay.
Sheila, how do you feel about this?
Challenged.
Yeah. Mark and Brett, now there's two of you, so we're gonna hold you to an even higher standard.
Oh boy, yay. That's exactly what we wanted.
And Soren, are you ready for this?
I feel grossly underqualified, but I'm going to do my best.
That's honestly, that's a great energy to bring to this. But no one's going to believe in you, Soren, until you believe in you. All right. And I guarantee you, you have the exact right qualifications for this. Okay. I don't know what your resume says. It's perfect. It's exactly what we need for this. Okay. You're qualified. Does anyone have any questions before we kick it off? Because you guys got to get moving. You all have to get moving. You have an hour. All right. Okay. Oh, Soren has a question.
It is a scale model, right? This doesn't have to be full size.
That's, you know what, Soren? That's such a smart question. Yeah. Let's say it should be a scale model. I do not think you need to build a horse-sized pride monument in the next 57 minutes. But it was a good question. All right. Shows you're thinking it through. Planning, starting to put the pieces together. All right. Everybody's ready. Travell, why don't you say ready? I'll say set, and then you know what comes next. All right. You want to kick us off, Travell?
All right. Ready?
Set.
Go?
Go.
Yeah, go. Go. Get to work. You should be moving. I just wanted to see the motion. Oh, Soren is just didn't jump up with any anticipation. All right, you're all gonna get to work. We're excited to see what you come up with. All right, if you all could turn off your cameras for now. Soren, Mark and Brett, Sheila, just turn off your cameras because we are gonna go to our next segment, but we're gonna be back. Okay. This is gonna be fun, Travell.
Excited. I didn't know the actual parameters of this competition, but I feel like queer people, I'm assuming they're all queer, you know, I don't want to out nobody on YouTube, but you know, I think queer people are very creative, you know, we're good with our hands, we have that queer imagination thing going on. This should be amazing.
I agree. I'm very excited. All right, let's see, what do we have next? All right, what's next? Obviously, we are not just protesting right now, we're also organizing for the fall. And through our program, through Vote Save America, you can adopt one of 6 swing states. Tonight, in honor of Pride, we have very special drag performers from a few of those states who will be making the case for why you should adopt the state that they represent. First up, from the battleground state where Trump won the smallest margin in 2016 and one of the best opportunities to flip a state for Democrats in 2020, she's the hostess of Michigan Drag Brunch in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Gabriella Straton Galore. Let's roll the clip.
Hello, my fellow Americans. My name is Gabriella Straton Galore, and I am coming to you from the beautiful West Michigan city of Grand Rapids, where we are most known for our beer, our beaches, and our brunches. I wanted to talk about how you can adopt Michigan and help get our country back on the right path. For starters, Michigan was the state that Trump won the presidential election by the smallest margin. And it was the first time that our state helped elect a Republican president in nearly 3 decades. Hey, we all make mistakes. However, in 2018, we returned to our blue roots by electing 3 amazing Democratic women for our Secretary of State, our Attorney General, and our now famous governor. Have you heard of Big Wretch? She's that woman from Michigan whose leadership at the beginning of the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic has saved countless lives and made Michigan one of the safest states to be in. Michigan is the birthplace of Motown and techno music. we brought you legendary icons like Madonna and the incomparable Aretha Franklin. We are the only state that has a map built into the human body, and they say no matter where you are in Michigan, you're never more than 6 miles away from water. As a matter of fact, the Great Lakes surrounding our state make up 21% of the world's fresh water supply. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, as I always say. In conclusion, I highly encourage you to check out votesaveamerica.com to find out how you can lend your support to Democrats in our beloved state of Michigan. This moment matters. Let your voice be heard. And I'll see you at the polls. I'm trying to get me a voting sticker.
And we're back. We have a very special guest here, Chase Strangio. Strangio is the Deputy Director for Transgender Justice with the ACLU's LGBT and HIV Project, one of the attorneys from the ACLU legal team that was part of last week's landmark ruling on Title VII. LaLa Zannelle leads the ACLU's advocacy and organization work to support and empower transgender and non-binary people. Recently, LaLa created the first trans discrimination survey in New York City to collect data on trans people's experiences and employment. Welcome to you both and happy Pride.
Happy
Thank
Pride.
you. Happy Pride.
LaLa reminded us to have a real,
Yes.
that energy.
Yeah.
Have a Pride energy.
You
Okay.
have to.
And
We
I am
have
gonna
to.
be like on like the room raiders held hostage over here, but
You know what?
doing my best.
You know what? I want to talk about that. Obviously not on the high on the list of issues that I
Yeah.
have right now. But I have a fundamental problem with the room rating that's going on because there's an expectation that everybody live in a fucking West Elm.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of it.
Yeah. I live in a studio with an 8-year-old, okay? And it's just a disaster. So there you have it. But I'm
I
so
think-
proud. And I love my community in Jackson Heights.
I love Jackson Heights.
And we love your community in Jackson Heights.
Yes.
And also, I don't think everybody needs a bookshelf behind them. That's not the only way to decorate. All right. Sometimes you can have a box of from a 1980s edition of the game Clue, but instead of a murder at a mansion, it's the Golden Girls fighting over a piece of cheesecake. That's Pride too.
Right.
John, that is gay. So
Right.
Very gay.
yeah.
And yeah, it's very gay. All right. Enough silliness.
Enough silliness. Let's get into it.
I want to just start by asking you both about what the ACLU has been doing to support LGBTQ plus people during Pride, and especially now as we're talking about Black Lives Matter has brought in these conversations around inclusivity in the community. How has that been playing out at the ACLU?
Lala,
Well,
you
I'll
wanna-
go to you.
Yeah, Lala.
Well, first I
Did you
would
have the-
say I've only been at the ACLU only for over a year, and I feel like that time has went by so fast. But the time that I have been there, it's been so amazing to work with Chase and all the people at in the LGBT project and just my team. And in a time before I started the job, I was like, yes, it's the ACLU, they defend everything, but I did not really see like how they were really in the trenches like that. And like we really externally and internally, we be going hard for trans rights. But currently right now, as far as we do, yeah. Snaps. Yes. But currently right now, stuff that I'm working on, which is in my advocacy department, is we're working on trans kids in sports. We're working on decrim sex work. Yes, for that decrim sex work, we're going to get that done. We're working on ID documents and just supporting the Equality Act and any other bad anti-trans bills or any bills across the country. We're going to be there to try to put the fires out, to try to give the community the talking points they need to talk about these issues. And then when we got to hit the courthouse, where we at home now. So before I would go up the stairs and knock on Chase door and say, what fire are we going to put out? But we're doing it from home now, so it's still kind of. And to Chase's background, I love it. This is only for today because we're here. I'm also in a Manhattan studio that's very small. The rest of my apartment on the other side is nothing but shoes and clothes. So I said, let me get this cute corner for the parade.
I love it.
But yes.
It's the parade. The parade is in our hearts.
Yeah, no, I think it's been there's been just a confluence of so many things, and sort of one thing about this moment that feels so beautiful is that in some ways we're returning to what Pride should be about, which is about protest of police violence, protest against state repression, and building. And so as much as we're facing so much grief and loss in our community, we're seeing so many ways that we have capacity to build and reimagine. And so I think, so much of my work is in legislative advocacy and in litigation, and that has so many constraints, but I see so many incredible ways we've been able to use it. So we have this incredible win at the Supreme Court, clear rule, no lawful employment discrimination because you're LGBTQ, but it goes so much further than that. And we're going to make sure that it extends exactly as it should to healthcare, to housing, including shelter, to credit, to education. So we're enforcing all that in the courts. And then one thing I just want to say that's been so incredible about the ACLU and our team of litigators and advocates is that when COVID-19 hit, we knew that the crisis would be most serious in detention, forms of prisons, jails, shelters, and immigration detention. And we mobilized so many attorneys to bring so many lawsuits to try to get people out, to try to improve conditions. And we know that that's LGBTQ justice as well, because so many of our Black trans siblings are funneled into the criminal legal system. So many people living in poverty are criminalized. And so when we're dealing with a global pandemic and we're dealing with a history of a government that was founded on chattel slavery, we better get people out of those carceral systems. So we're doing that work every day.
LaLa, what are some of the ways that the people that are tuning in right now over the interwebs, how can they support some of the work that you and Chase are doing on the ground?
Well, you first can start out, it's Pride, to donate. Give us money so we can continue to do the work, but also check out our website. We have a whole section on our LGBTQ rights issues. We have our trans justice stuff there. We have amazing videos from Masterpiece that you can go on for parents and other people that want to watch videos to get educated. But also, we have ACLU affiliates across the country that we work with. And so reach out to those affiliates within the state you live in and ask them, what are you doing and how can I show up and what support you need, as well as talking to the folks on the ground. And it's great that we're doing this work at ACLU. But when I go home and Chase go home, we're at home now, but we close this off. It doesn't stop because you donated or because you showed up or because you went to a lobby there or because you did this cool social media thing. It happens when you authentically, every day when you get up, it becomes an everyday practice. And so for myself, I try to always in life to make sure I have friends from various backgrounds, various everything. That way I'm always learning and challenging myself on how to navigate and understand new people. And I think that's where that culture shift is. We see that in the streets. We've seen that in Brooklyn when 15,000 people showed up in support of Black trans women. And so that energy needs to keep that energy going. And so now after we showed up, what's the next step? And the next step is actually befriending trans folks. And like I keep saying, the Supreme Court decision has no victory if employers still want to employ folks that look like me. And so that's the goal, to get you to employ us. So you go to work and say, hey, you heard about the Supreme Court case? What are we going to do about it? And you start using those own tools when people that are not necessarily a part of the trans community, when allies actually show up and use their leverage and power to make way for us, that is when change happens. Because even if you don't do that, me and Chase are still going to be fighting for our liberation of our people. But it makes it a little bit easier when we can come in the room and we have a whole constituency of people that are also with us. Also call your sentence and tell them, pass that Equality Act now. Tell them to pass it now. There's ways. You should always every day get it up, participating in actions and giving back. But the best way is when you put that practice in your everyday life.
Chase, one last question following up on that. We talked after the Supreme Court decision was handed down. What do you see as the next big legal fight? LaLa talked eloquently about the cultural fight that we all have to wage, but what's the next big legal fight that we should be keeping an eye on?
Oh, it's so hard to pick just one. Not good at that. But I want to give a shout out to sort of the need to really work in the decriminalization space. And that's not, we don't have pending litigation that I can point to, but we need to decriminalize sex work. We need to decriminalize drugs. There's so much decriminalization work that needs to happen. We have a crisis of mass incarceration. The other thing I really want to shout out too is we have these really horrible laws that lawmakers are trying to pass in the states. And unfortunately, during the pandemic, Idaho passed this sweeping anti-trans law targeting trans students and student athletes. And I think one of the things people don't realize about these laws targeting athletics is that they think, oh, well, it's sports, it's peripheral, like not everyone wants to play sports. But here's the really insidious thing. The first is that these are the Trump administration and our opponents' new way to try to entrench in law anti-trans notions of sex that are actually designed to expand discriminatory practices against all people who don't align with the proper notions of maleness and femaleness. And they were unsuccessful at the Supreme Court, but they're going to keep trying, and this is the place. And I think our opponents are peeling off allies with this very reactive discourse about protecting women in athletics. And Bill Barr doesn't care about women's sports. ADF doesn't care about women's sports. They care about are enforcing white supremacist norms of bodies and regulating people's bodies. And they're bringing these laws and they're bringing litigation challenging good law. They're passing bad laws and bringing litigation challenging good laws. And I think we're not getting enough attention to it. And it could be one of these areas where they're able to sneak in. And so we are putting so many resources into these fights. And I hope that people join us. And one other thing, all cis people should watch Disclosure on Netflix, so you can really see all of the sort of internalized transphobia that we've all been fed, cis and trans people alike. And I think that helps us in the work.
All right. Well, thank you, Chase. Thank you, LaLa. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the work that you're doing. So glad to be with you in the fight. And happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
This is a parade, all right? It's the best time. It's a parade.
Right. Where's my bees?
All right. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
So what's next? So first of all, Travell, I just want to update us on where we're at.
Yes, where are we?
We're here. It's happening. We're here and we're queer. All right. We have I want to shout out some of the donors to the fund. Terry C, proud to support a wonderful cause. Elliot C, just a thank you. Sam M said, I may be paying rent on an apartment I'm not living in because of the pandemic, but still donating what I can. And I thought this one was funny. I am straight, so I don't feel obligated to read. So don't feel obligated to read my email. My pronouns are she, her, and now I'll shut up and let everyone else speak. I appreciated that.
We love straight people who know how to move out the way.
We're already at $23,000. And we've upped it. We're upping our goal to 50,000. Let's see how quickly we can get there. All right.
Y'all can do it.
And now, all right. Terrell, what's on your mind, by the way?
No, what do you mean what's on my mind?
I'm just checking in with you.
Just checking in with me? Mm-hmm. I'm checking in with you.
I feel do you
feel checked?
I do. Thank you.
My pleasure.
You. All right, next. We are going to go, we asked a bunch of LGBTQ friends to submit what they consider to be the queerest moments of 2020. We had some incredible special guests submit their answers, and we have a great clip right now. So let's go to the queerest moments of 2020.
The queerest moment of 2020,
besides this outfit I'm wearing,
Kate Blanchett's accent in Mrs. America.
Taylor Swift's whole Pride vibe. I love it. I'm living for it. She's a queen.
I would say anything to do with Megan Rapinoe and Sue Bird, who should really do everything and run our country.
Sitting in quarantine, sitting in existential despair, and then bam, new Lady Gaga. I felt very affirmed.
When Lady Gaga said that at the end of quarantine, she was going to find a gay bar and be the gayest. It was the most gayest statement from the gayest icon. My gay heart exploded.
The gays' reaction to Dua Lipa's Physical.
A gay man won Iowa, and that's a huge deal.
When RuPaul's Drag Race, Celebrity Drag Race, and Untucked were back to back to back to back. Queer, honey. Queer. I'm here for that. And then you would go over to HBO and there was We're Here. all that drag. Soak it up, honey. Soak it up.
So queerness for me is about freedom, and freedom is about defining your own life and your own future and not asking for permission, not ever having to apologize for your existence, right? Living unapologetically. And the exquisite uprising that we are in the midst of right now is just that.
A tie between the Brooklyn Liberation March for Black trans lives and the release of the Chromatica jockstrap.
And that pride is back to being a protest.
In this June, with everything that's been going on, with all the protests, more people, straight and queer, are learning their history about queer culture in a way they haven't before. Trans women of color and women of color, Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson and Stormy Della Vari being involved in the Stonewall riots and rebellion and the early gay pride marches. That's what I see, and I think that's amazing.
We're back. Trabelle,
Yes.
this is Pundit. All
I
right.
know Pundit.
Just introducing you and everyone watching. I love those queerest moments. I wish we could have watched it in real time, but I had to watch it before because, technology. Trabelle.
Yes.
Trabelle, while we were in the break, my pride flag fell down.
It did. And you put it right back on up. The resilient spirit of queer people.
And that's the story of this era. That's the story of pride.
Yes, it is. They
In a
tried to
lot of
knock
ways.
us down, and we
Mhm.
just stand right back on up. You right.
Gravity won't stop us. I was told during the break as well to keep it loose.
Keep it loose.
I was given the note. So that's what's happening now. We have what's next. So here's where we're going next. Ira Madison III, Louis Vertel, Aida Osman, the incredible hosts of Keep It, the cultural, political, comedy podcast phenomenon, the unstoppable train that is Keep It. All right, they got together to talk about their queer hot takes. All right, the first segment of which is coming up right now. Let's go check out what's going on with our friends at Keep It.
Well, that was John Lovett and Travell Anderson, one of whom I adore, the other of whom doesn't respond to my texts in a timely manner.
Now, I would say you are not wonderful on that front either, Ira, sometimes. So I have to say, let's think about pots, let's think about kettles.
Not to be a total kiss ass, but I might be missing John Lovett. It's been months.
True.
Ira's face.
Yeah, I miss him a lot too because I have him muted on Twitter.
No, you think when we get back in the studio, I'm not going to be like performing shablams for Tommy Vidor? Come on.
In case you don't know who we are Ira Madison III.
I'm Louis Vertel.
My name's Aida Osman.
And we are the hosts of Keep It, a podcast on Crooked Media that is more fun than Pod Save America. So listen to us.
Uh-huh. It's also more sexually aggressive than no. I can't. I'll cut that. I was going to say something. Yeah. It's the one podcast that is not obligated to bring up Betsy DeVos, which is really exciting.
True, because who wants to be talking about her anyway? And we get to complain and gripe, and I know that that's fun to listen to. So come through.
Yes. And it's the only Crooked Media podcast where all three of us are straight.
Yes.
Right.
Very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, homophobic actually is the better word for how we move. Yes.
I am homophobic. Get the fag off the live stream. I'm not watching that.
Yes.
You do have to watch out for Ira referencing memes you might not have heard. That wasn't actual homophobia you just heard. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was a Tyra Banks meme. Sorry. She was talking to the Westboro Baptist Church when she said that. She was repeating one of their own quotes to them.
And unfortunately, the internet clipped it, and now it is ours to mock and use to our own ends.
I'm pretty sure every fold of Ira's brain is just a Whitney Houston meme. I'm pretty sure. Until
That's
proven
history.
otherwise.
Anyway, thank you for joining us for Queer Hot Takes, a segment where we had our Keep It listeners call in and leave some of their wildest pop takes about queerness, and we are going to have our own opinions on these takes.
Oh yeah, no,
We'll see.
I'm prepared to be mad about them. I have a fly swatter ready to swat at the bad hot takes, so we'll see how it goes.
Nice. I mean, I'm just naturally contrarian and I love fighting, so let's see what happens.
Done.
All right.
Hi, Ira, Aida, and Lewis. My name's Dominic from New Hampshire. My queer hot take is that killing Caesar is the gayest thing that has ever been done. So these people, they leave the city of Rome to have this, like, ceremony, and they've been secretly plotting to kill Caesar for months. Talk about a stunt. And they walk into the room, they distract Mark Antony. How camp. And they go, Sic Semper Tyrannis. And Caesar, who, like, is, like, the epitome of camp. He's all about spectacle and, like, just, like, I'm going to wear these things that are totally taboo. And, like, I'm going to be like, oh, king? Who? Amazing. And so they say, Sic Semper Tyrannis, bitch. And then they kill him and stab him a bunch of times. And his reply isn't like, ow, it's nothing. He looks at his friend Brutus and just goes, Et tu, Brutai. He's like, even you? Like, you know they were dating. Come on, you know there was something more than that. They were friends with Benny's at least. Anyway, though it was and it created, like, the gayest, like, civilization of all time because, like, what's gayer than a gladiator match? Nothing. So that was pretty gay, pretty queer. And despite all of that, it was a mistake. Our boy Caesar deserved to live, I think. All right. Thanks, guys.
When he said the words killing Caesar, I, for a second, thought there was a Bill O'Reilly book I didn't know about. But secondly...
or a Phoebe Waller-Bridge spinoff of Killing Eve.
Right,
I really didn't know.
Is there a character? Yeah, does Villanelle have a brother I don't know about,
Yes.
etc.? But if you're going to be killed in an ambush in Rome, and yet you still have a witticism about you, I have to respect what can only be described as queerness there. That's what that is.
Truly, it jumps out.
I would say that the killing of Caesar is not necessarily the gayest thing ever. And I would actually say that that's pretty mundane and straight. It's a bunch of senators. I will say that a real queer event in history was modeled after it, and in turning the killing of Caesar into camp, that is where we got our gayest historical moment, and that is John Wilkes Booth killing Lincoln.
Okay, to add to that, I do agree with you. I would argue anything premeditated is gay, just off top. I think I would argue also murder is gay. Just murder in general is gay. I would argue any assassination is gay. To spend that much time consumed with the life and death of another man, to have that look in your eye. It's the same look in your eye that I see when Ira talks about Charlie Puth. It's a gay look. It's just a gay look.
I think that, but like transforming the killing of Caesar, stealing the Sic Semper Tyrannis, shooting Lincoln in a theater, after Lincoln himself had been warned not to come to the theater because his wife was having premonitions.
Wow.
Much like the Ides of March warned Caesar that he was going to be murdered. I think that it just took the Caesar murder and made it camp.
Yeah, there are two things here that are very gay. I just want to reiterate. Planning is like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We all have the one who like gets the Palm Springs trip together. That's what, like, that person is also an assassin.
Well, it's certainly you.
Arguing.
I have a feeling it's you, but carry on.
I'm somebody who's in the passenger side recommending we listen to like Helen Reddy music while the planner actually runs the show.
Okay.
Baby, Lewis is no planner, okay? Let me tell you, Aida, of how Lewis throws a birthday party. There was one particular birthday that was at the beach, and all of our friends are heading to the beach, and texts just start coming in. Hey, could you bring some ice? Hey, could you bring some cups? Hey, does anyone have a speaker? Hey, does anyone have chairs, blankets?
Girl, what did you bring?
An umbrella?
What did you bring?
Damn.
He said, did anyone have sand? There's no sand at the
beach. He said, bring your sand to the beach because your beach is better.
You guys, neither of you will understand this, but as an artist, I can't be held I can't be held to account when it comes to mundane things. You know what I mean? Like I'm too I'm a servant to the spirit and the muse, and therefore you have to bring things like food and ice and ways to occupy yourself for my birthday.
There's
Sorry,
also limited RAM in your brain, and you've used it all with like the angle of Cate Blanchett's cheekbones, like that you have
Right.
that memorized.
See?
So I understand.
The bandwidth's gone.
Lewis and I are both Leos, but
and I feel it every fucking day.
We have different controlling aspects of Leodom. Like mine manifests in wanting to micromanage the party, but still wanting people to do things for me. His manifests in wanting people to do things for him for the party, but explicitly just asking them to do things.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, to wrap this up with the Julius Caesar stuff, the gladiator shoe is definitely a gay shoe. That's too much string. Why are you wrapping around the legs so much? Gay.
Right. It's very a lacy shoe. Explain
So
it
lacy.
to me.
They're just so fucking dramatic for going to brunch, and it's usually white women in Hollywood who do it.
And by the way, I do want to say, I want to shout out the gayness of the show American Gladiators, where I'm not super concerned with who the men were on that show, but the women were named things like Ice, Gold, Diamond, Siren. Just they were like superheroes who loved climbing walls and rolling you over in a giant ball. And I think that's like an underrated queer series.
Anyway, killing Caesar, kind of gay.
Sure.
But
Confirmed.
taking it to the next level and recreating the killing of Caesar, in my opinion, to kill an American president in a theater is even gayer.
Yeah, ultimate gay.
Yeah.
HRC recipient, John Wilkes Booth. Yes.
All right, let's kick it back to America's favorite comedy duo, John Lovett and Travell Anderson.
And we're back. Travell,
Yes.
we are here with our craftestants.
They look like they've been hard at work.
They do look like they've been hard at work. We've got Sheila, we've got Mark and Brett, we've got Soren. Sheila, I'll start with you. How is the construction project going so far?
Okay, so I don't know if they told you that I am actually I do cross stitch and embroidery.
Ooh.
So I don't know if it's going to be easy to tell, but I'm doing the White House lit up for Pride Month.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay.
I see it. I see the vision.
We see the vision. We're so excited to see what happens with
Kind of outliney, but yeah.
Very exciting, Sheila. Thank you for the update. We'll be back to judge the competition in about half an hour. So, you got to keep moving. This thing's got to come together. All right. Get embroidering. I don't even know what that involves. Needles. I don't know.
Yes.
Mark and Brett, coming over to you now. During the break, as it were, Mark attempted to curry favor by praising the podcast and in generally trying to ingratiate himself. It got him nowhere, Travell.
Are you sure?
A light just fell over in my house. All right, Mark, Brett, what are you working on right now?
Well, we have a fan, clearly, because what is gay things without a fan?
Okay.
We are like pretty frantic. We have some other pieces coming together. We're working on it. It will all make sense soon. We hope.
I'm very excited to see it. Thank you for the update. Good luck. Soren, over to you. How is your project coming along?
Okay, I'm not sure if it's me believing myself or if it's just like really cringy, but it's a sort of monument to the gatekeeping of medical services for trans people. So
Okay.
I took some of my my equipment for my hormones and I'm making it into sort of thing.
Soren, I think that's inspiring, and I'm so excited to see what you've made.
Thank you.
Me too, yes.
All right. Well, Soren, we're going to look, Mark and Brett, Soren, Sheila are hard at work, feverishly crafting in real time. They can't even engage. Mark is doing some performative head wiping, which is, it's also working on me. It's all working. And so we're gonna check back in with you all later. All right, good to see Brett there. Very excited to see what you come up with. If you all could turn your cameras back off, we'll be back to see the final results in about half an hour. Very exciting. Love a competition.
Of course you do. So competitive.
I am competitive. I've got do you remember the movie There Will Be Blood?
Yes, I do.
When what's his name? He always pretends he's somebody for a long time. What's his name? The actor? Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes,
Daniel
that
Day-Lewis. When Daniel Day-Lewis said that he has the competition in him, I related to that.
Did you? Interesting choices.
I forgot to apply my glitter makeup that I did buy for this occasion.
Okay.
So I do want to, and people were asking me what happened to it, so I do want to make sure I'm gonna put it just like there.
Okay.
I don't think it's coming through.
You gotta put more.
I'll put more on during the break. I'm gonna put more on while our next drag queen is performing. Travell, here's what's next.
What's next? Tell me. Let me know.
From the Southwest, a battleground that could give Democrats their best chance to flip a traditionally red state in 2020. They are drag performers, entertainers, and hosts of Let's Have a Fefe, which you can find on YouTube, Facebook, and Patreon. From Arizona, to push you to adopt the state of Arizona in our Vote Save America program, here are Felicia Fefe Minor and Freddy Prinze Charming.
Police reform. Transgender protections in healthcare and in the workplace.
Improving Arizona's education.
Now more than ever, it's important to have your voice represented by the folks in office.
In Arizona, it's time to make a change and vote for a Democratic candidate who represents
your voice,
your community,
and your best interest.
Do your research, get to know the candidates, and find out where they stand on issues that matter most to you.
It's important to be registered to vote to receive your mail-in ballot.
We need to get to the polls to be able to
flip
the
switch
and turn Arizona blue.
And we are back. And look who it is.
Hello.
Look who it is. Sandra Gay O'Connor, aka Judge Learned Handy. I knew that was for you. Guy Branum.
Thank you for having me. Happy Pride. I had leftover Rocket Man beads from last year, so I am having corporate pride all on my own.
I have a rainbow flag from AstraZeneca. Actually, that's how I marked the occasion.
I bought this at the local gay store that advertises on Drag Race.
I will say that I did this floral headdress, tiara, garland, not sure what it is. I did purchase from Jeff Bezos personally.
Yeah. From his personal collection.
From his yard sale. He did a yard sale.
I'm full of compromises.
Yes. But when we have Guy here, it's there's only one thing we can do. Is everyone ready? Travell, can you do it with us?
I'm gonna try, but I'm gonna let you know. I don't know. Is it body bop 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 or
you have to imagine it's a news break in like 1930s radio. That's vaguely what we're appealing to. So it's this just in. It's a big gay news.
Okay. All right.
I'll kick us off. Earlier this month in Bostock v. McClain County, Georgia, the Supreme Court ruled that Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act makes it unlawful for employers to discriminate against LGBTQ workers. While I'm happy about Title VII, I would have preferred Title 69.
Gay news. In Justice Kavanaugh's dissent, he complained that they were being too literal with Title VII. You see, Title VII is a living document, not frozen in time and truth like the U.S. Constitution or his planner entries from when he was 18 years old. It's true, you guys. We shouldn't take discrimination on the basis of sex on face value. We have a private meaning that no living person has ever heard of, like Devil's Triangle or boofing.
Or boofing. Boofing. He has his own definition of boofing.
Gay news. The ruling was written by conservative Neil Gorsuch, who was joined by conservative John Roberts. Just 5 years ago, Roberts voted against gay marriage. What changed? Well, I can't say for sure, but we are living in a post-Nanette world.
Gay news. Gorsuch was, of course, nominated by Trump to fill the stolen Garland Supreme Court seat. Trump reportedly said, "When I'm this disappointed by someone I hired, I expected to be my son, Don Jr., who I despise because my lack of empathy as a human being means, ironically, I am too objective about what makes him terrible. And deep down, Don Jr. knows this, but has never known any other kind of fatherly love."
Gay news. Gorsuch's opinion, am I at the right spot?
I think so. I may have
Gorsuch's opinion is 33 pages long, while the dissents total 135 pages. I went through all of them. 8 dictionary definitions of sex. Every federal form that asks you what sex you are. But don't worry, this is only because Clarence Thomas's computer got stuck on the 54-point font, and his granddaughter won't speak to him to tell him how to turn it off. 135 pages. Conservatives always make everything 4 times too long as a tribute to Ayn Rand.
Gay news. This is very fun. Gorsuch explained the reasoning behind his opinion. Consider, for example, an employer with 2 employees, both of whom are attracted to men. One is a man, the other is a woman. If the employer fires the male employee for no reason other than the fact that he's attracted to men, the employer discriminates against him for traits or actions it tolerates in his female colleague. He then added, but what if these 2 hypothetical workers are attracted to the same man? Surely these esteemed justices would recognize that such a situation would be ripe with comedic possibility. If it pleases the court, I'd like to submit a pilot.
Gay news. The ruling applies to both public and private schools at every education level, which means that your favorite history teacher is finally free to talk effusively about Lady Gaga's Chromatica without fear of Madison's mom, who regrets marrying Madison's dad, taking out her generalized anxiety by coming for his job.
Gay news. Guy Branum, thank you so much. Guy, how are you this Pride? It is so lovely to see you.
It's lovely to get a dose of Pride. I'm drinking the official drink of Pride. It's vodka poured into a vitamin water. I'm drinking like I'm outside in the sun. Thank you both so much for giving us this dose of Pride. Because there's been a lot going on, and I think it's important to remember that the LGBTQIAA community, yes, we have always been political. Yes, we have always been fighting, but we have always been making it fun. We've always been making it cute as our fucking job.
Hey, Guy, I don't know if this is the right forum to ask you, but you did see that I called you the other night and you screened me and then didn't text or call back, right? You saw that?
Ooh. Didn't I respond to you?
I don't think so.
Look, I have a lot of things going on.
Guy Branum, everybody.
Thanks, Guy.
Bye.
All right. That was great. All right, wait, now we did that. Oh, now we have a next thing. Okay. Travell.
Yes?
I'm very excited for what's next.
Are you?
Why did you, what about my delivery made you think that I was not telling you the truth?
It just wasn't really convincing. I need you to do it one more time and then give it to me from the gut.
Travell.
Yeah.
No, see, now, you know what it is? Now I have the right energy, but I need to throw it away. I need to really internalize it. It needs to be not something I'm doing outside. It needs to be something I'm doing inside. I'm going to try again.
Okay.
I'm going to try again. Oh, we're having fun now. I just want you to know, Jura is just a sponsor. They're not sponsoring this feed. They just sent me this and it's great and I'm having it, so just something that's going on over here.
You're living the best life.
You bet. All right. Trebell, I am so excited about what's next.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like I'm still not selling it. I mean it. I do mean it, but there is a forced kind of performative energy that I'm bringing to it. I'm really excited. No, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to get there. You just have to take my word for it. What we have next is a montage of suggestions from an incredible lineup of guests, special guests, talking about the characters that they wished or secretly believed were LGBTQ. Let's roll the clip.
Okay, now that SpongeBob's come out.
Hi, SpongeBob.
Of course, we always knew.
Other fictional characters I hope and suspect are also queer.
The Crypt Keeper of Tales of the Crypt. It's like a piano bar gay, like an ancient gay man.
I actually think most characters are queer, but that's a different story.
Pepe Le Pew, who I think is bisexual, if not pansexual.
Johnny Bravo. Why is he trying so hard?
Obviously, Velma on Scooby-Doo.
Animal from the Muppets.
Scooby-Doo himself.
Okay, here's the deal. They've been entertaining us for decades, and I just want them to know that they can live their truth. Ren and Stimpy, come on out.
Tommy and Chucky from Rugrats, to me, were my queer icons. They weren't queer lovers. I never thought they were lovers. But queer besties? Absolutely.
Aunt Hilda and Aunt Zelda from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They're not dating each other, but they are lesbians.
And I also thought Susie Carmichael, the black neighbor who would come over, let's just call it what it was. Angelica was a bigot, okay? And Susie would come over and handle her like black women do, right? They handle the situation, okay? Took care of them queer babies.
I watched a ton of Xena Warrior Princess, and by the end, we definitely knew Xena and Gabrielle had a thing. As I was coming to terms with my sexuality at that age, it would have made a big difference if they just came out and said it.
That ridiculous over-the-top Southern Belle, Aunt Pitty Pat, Foghorn Leghorn, Southern Senator character, Miss Lindsey Graham, he needs to come out of the closet and stop voting against LGBTQI legislation. That character, that creature needs to come out of the closet. Come out, bitch.
And we're back. In 1994, what?
Sorry.
Too long of a pause?
It was
fine.
a very long pause.
It's fine. It's fine. I did it on purpose. All right? Adds a little tension. In 1994, he became the first openly gay actor to play an openly gay character in a leading role on TV when he starred as Ricky Vasquez on the short-lived but beloved My So-Called Life. And I'll just tell you, I didn't know I was gay, but the show did. My So-Called Life knew I was gay before I did. All right? And I think that's amazing because we had not met.
Everybody knew, John. You were the only one.
Wilson has also been an advocate for LGBTQ youth, especially youth of color. Currently, he is boldly going where no one has gone before. As one half of the first gay married couple in Starfleet on Star Trek Discovery, Wilson Cruz, welcome to the Pride Parade.
Thank you. Happy Pride.
So good to
Especially
see
to all
you.
the brown people out there.
Sure. Why
We
don't you
love
kick
that.
us off?
Of course. So, Wilson, John just read a little bit of your resume. You're legendary, you're iconic, you're all of the things. We know that. But you also recently executive produced a new docu-series on Apple TV called Visible, out on television. Can you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Yes, I'm very proud to be one of the executive producers along with the amazing and gorgeous Wanda Sykes. It's a 5-part documentary, 5 one-hour episodes about the history of LGBTQ images on television and the people who risked their lives and their livelihoods to tell the truth about LGBTQ people and how those images and how those stories helped shape and craft the LGBTQ movement towards acceptance because we told the truth. And it's also a call to action to the industry to celebrate where we are, but also let's take this moment to say we have further to go. There is a lot of work to do behind the scenes in terms of whose stories are told. And so while we celebrate the great strides we've made, we do that knowing that we have great strides yet to make.
Now, you are someone who has at multiple points throughout your career kind of led this representation of it all. I'm wondering for you, how does it feel to, like, you know, back in the day be historic for the character that you played on My So-Called Life, to now also still be doing something that's considered historic with Star Trek?
How does that feel?
Yes, how does it feel?
It feels like I helped build an industry or change an industry so that I could work. I had to blaze a trail, not only for myself, but for people like me and people who were underrepresented, who were living in the margins. And what I mean by that is that for so long we were invisible. And so in order to have more representation on television and in the media in general, some people like myself had to be a part of it in order to have that conversation with content creators. And sometimes we had to take work that was less than perfect and then work within those parameters to make that work better in order to make more representation available to us that was more representative of our lives. So I am a beneficiary of my own willingness to work within this industry to change it. And it feels good.
I want to talk about how this change can continue, because you talked about taking the roles that weren't ideal because that was what was available, right? And we've gay characters for a long time were the gay best friend, or famously, and
I made a career out of it.
And what a career! And nobody look. Some of my best gay friends are gay best friends.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, look, the thing is that back in the old days, in the 90s, we were supporting characters. We were, the friend of the friend, the white girl's best friend, and we had to take those roles in order to, be present, to be visible. But when we look at look at representation today, we have, and just in terms of Latinx representation, I'll take that for example. We have Love Victor, which takes place in Atlanta, in the South, in the suburbs of Atlanta. We have Pose, which takes place in Manhattan, the metropolitan urban area. And we have Gentefied, which takes place in Echo Park. They're all completely different from each other, different genres, different stories, different backgrounds, a spectrum of experiences. And so that kind of representation was a dream for me. So when I watch something like Love Victor, for instance, I watch it through a puddle of tears because I literally never believed that we would get the opportunity to be at the center of our own stories.
What do you think is the next frontier for this fight? Like, I would yell on stage for quite some time. One of my great catchphrases, Wilson, which is "Let them fuck."
I'm listening. Let them fuck.
Just let them fuck. About
Yes.
Marvel, about Avengers. That basically we needed an LGBT superhero in a Marvel
I know
movie.
somebody who's available for that gig, by the way.
All right. Here's what I want to understand. All right, great. You're a trailblazer for LGBTQ people. Great. What are you? Did you go to that house from the movie Death Becomes Her and take that potion from Isabella Rossellini? Your skin's too nice.
Well, listen. We as people of color,
Amen.
as a member of a community who was part of the triangle slave trade, this is what we get in return for 400 years of being the capital in capitalism.
I was looking for a moisturizer recommendation, not like the whole speech.
Those Kiehl's serums are amazing. Also, there's a photo of me, a portrait up in this attic right here. Kidding.
I caught the reference. I don't know how many people else did, but
I know. People, read books.
Read your books.
Read the books, or see the bad version of the film.
Oh,
don't do
That'll
that.
do too.
Nobody wants to see that.
Oh no.
Portrait of Wilson Cruz. So good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me. Happy Pride, everyone. I
Happy
want
Pride.
everybody to do. I want one thing. I want to let you know one thing. The most revolutionary thing you can do this Pride is be joyful.
Amen.
I wish you joy. Happy Pride.
Thank you, Wilson.
Too. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Am I still here?
Yes, you are.
Do I have to hang up?
You have
Yes.
to hang up. We're
I
live.
have to hang up.
Yes.
Well, then
Probably
I'm gonna
hang up.
stay. I'm just gonna stay there.
Listen, we gotta
keep it moving.
Can we go to the control room? We've got somebody who won't leave.
Like Donald Trump. Goodbye.
Woo! Bye. That was amazing. Shout out to Wilson.
Shout out to Wilson. Next up. All right, we're going to the next guest, right? I know we are.
Yeah. What's next on your run of show that you
I'll
have?
tell you, Travell. Next up, let me make sure I'm in the right spot. I think I am. He is an outspoken progressive, a veteran of the Obama administration, and the presumptive nominee for New York's 17th Congressional District. Please welcome Mondaire Jones.
What has been the biggest gay bait of 2020?
There we go.
Hi.
Janelle Monáe.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations on an amazing campaign. First of all, how was it seeing those numbers come in last night, and how are you feeling today?
It was surreal. You know, I felt like we were going to win, but I didn't know we would win by such a large margin. And so I'm really, really grateful to the people of this district, New York's 17th Congressional District, for really making the right choice, because there was a lot at stake.
I want to know what for you made you say you wanted to run, and that this was the particular time to get in the race and become politically active in this way.
Yeah, look, I'm not one of those people who always wanted to run for office. Growing up poor, Black, and gay, I never imagined that somebody like me could be in Congress. But one thing that I've been inspired by in the past several years has been young people not waiting their turn, but instead defying the political establishment in service of an energetic kind of advocacy for the things that we say we care about as Democrats, right? Folks who are willing to fight for ambitious policies that are actually going to improve the lives of everyone, instead of defeating ourselves before we get to the negotiating table. So I said, to hell with it. I'm going to give my district the representation that it deserves. And so I decided to step out on faith. And a lot of national attention on this race because of the historic nature of my campaign, right? So I'd be the first openly gay Black member of Congress. And that was helpful in terms of getting people to start paying attention to this race, because it did sort of start out kind of sleepy. You had your usual suspects, a few state legislators who were presumptively the front runners if you listen to local reporting, which always frustrated me, frankly. But then, I was the interesting person in this race, and increasingly so after people like Elizabeth Warren and others started to endorse me. But I've met so many people in this campaign who said, I think we need more people with your perspective.
Achievement. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's really cool. It's awesome. And I'm a huge fan. So please keep doing what you're doing.
All right. You too. Wow, man. Thank you. Good luck in the fall too. Let's make sure let's close this thing,
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Mondaire, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mondaire.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
How you feeling, John?
I'm good. I feel good. How are you, Travell?
I'm feeling.
What
How
are you
am
feeling?
I feeling? I'm feeling hungry.
You're hungry?
Yes.
For change?
For chicken.
Okay. All right. Any other feelings? Any other
I would like a side of
anything
change. It's chicken with a side of change.
Chicken with a side of change. That sounds like the name of a very frustrating book. Travell, now we're going to go to our next adopt a state, but we weren't able to secure a drag queen's participation in time for the state of North Carolina, which is a crisis. But Travell, we can do our best to advocate for North Carolina as part of our Vote Save America Adopt a State program. I'll go first.
Okay.
They've got great barbecue, and most people there are not affiliated with Duke. Any compliments? Any case you want to make for North Carolina?
I will say that I am from South Carolina, and while South Carolina is the better Carolina of the two, I do think that just because of the nature of it being like North and like a sister state, like that's why people should adopt it. Also, they need a lot of help, okay? I don't know if y'all been watching the news and stuff, okay? They need as much assistance as they can get.
Well, they need the help. So if you want to adopt North Carolina, you can go to votesaveamerica.com/adopt. We also want to update you on our Pride Fund at crooked.com/Pride Fund. We are at, where are we? We have almost 1,000 donors. And we did want to thank some of the people who donated. Madison E., it's my first Pride that I'm actually out to my closest friends. Keep It and Love It or Leave It have been really helpful in remembering that it's a community to be part of and coming out. That means so much. But thank you for donating to the fund, and happy Pride, Madison.
Yes.
Sweet note. We're at 32,000. That's old. I'm running through the donations. We're trying to get to 1,000 donors. Let's see, where am I at? Oh, I'm going slowly through this Slack chain.
Well, while you do that, I'm just gonna reapply my little lip gloss.
Please do.
I hope y'all can see it glittering in the light.
I do see it, and I've been adding glitter. I'm trying to make sure that it comes through, but you can kind of see the shine there. You
gotta put it on
$35,000.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Put it on thick.
Put it on thick. You've played in makeup before. Who are you fooling? Come on now.
Listen. All right. Was there a time when I went into my mother's closet and put on a pair of gold high heels and wandered around the house with like a great performer? Of course there was.
But you also have that same pair of gold heels right next to you. I don't know why you're fooling us right now.
I think those were lost in a fire. We're at $36,000. All right, we got to keep moving. Travell.
Let's do it.
Next up, we'll go back to Ira, to Lewis, to Ida for the Keep It Host Queer Hot Takes Part 2. And then we'll come back. We'll finish up our craft competition. We'll say goodbye. And we'll hear from one fantastic Pennsylvania drag queen. We have a lot of great stuff coming. All right, we'll be back.
Okay, we're back with more queer hot takes. You get more of us.
I know it's what you wanted, so we're here. We're here to deliver.
Hopefully it'll be pettier than the last time.
Yeah.
We're building.
Let's roll the hot take.
Hello, this is Eric calling from London, England, as you can tell from my accent. My queer hot take is that parades are trash. Pride parades are trash. 4th of July parades are trash. Parades celebrating some sport ball team winning are trash. I hate parades. You're stupid. You basically are standing there watching people walk. Now, parades at Disneyland, maybe the electric parade. But yeah, that's it. Thanks. Bye.
Eric.
First of all, didn't really hear an English accent there. Don't know what was going on. So a little disappointed.
I don't even know how to respond to you because I don't want to do the accent and make you feel bad. You know, like, are you aware? Do you know what you sound like?
Me?
I think whenever you do that, you sound like Ainsley Harriott. Truly, I'm brought back to Ainsley Harriott in the late 90s. Yeah.
But about the parades, finally someone said it. Finally someone said what I've been feeling. My last experience with the parade was at Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and I got a fucking cabbage lobbed at me, which is apparently tradition. So no, fuck parades.
I will say, though, I would be a little bit more supportive of this take if I didn't feel it was subversive Disney propaganda. Like, when a Disney gay is in my midst, first of all, I smell you. I can hear you and your friends already singing along to songs I don't want to hear ever again, and you're, whatever, obsessed with bringing up the gayness of Jafar. We've already relitigated that. I'm done with that. Whatever. Pride parades, at least... There's something about occupying a street where the rowdiness should be, I think, subversive in some way. Irish parades, etc., it's just beer stained and loud. But putting gayness in the middle of the street, I mean, something is actually accomplished, I feel. So I can't fully dismiss a pride parade.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah. Parade as protest or parade as celebration feels different than like the very American parade. Something about parades and why I dislike them is they feel so American and they're very like John Philip Sousa looking ass type, like Stars and Stripes. Where are we going? Walking from A to B. Like that's so Oregon Trail. I don't like that. Like what's the point? Sit your ass down somewhere, bro.
Listen, I always want to raise the roof. I want to carry on before the parade passes by. And that is from Hello Dolly. And that is gay fucking culture. And I will always support a parade.
Who's your favorite Hello Dolly, by the way?
I did see Bet.
Was that an A+?
Yeah, it was an A+. But you know what? I also love Octoroon Carol Channing.
Oh goodness. Yes. My favorite word making an appearance. Thank you, Ira. I will say Hello Dolly is definitely gay canon, but I don't think it's lesbian canon, so I'm lost here. I don't have a favorite.
I will say I think Carol Channing might be the most imitable celebrity of all time. I think she's the number one. Like everybody can do that everybody can talk like that.
Girl, come for her. Come for her.
She came for herself until she was age 103. So.
I like parades, although famously just don't really go to them.
I do have to say, if you've been to 5, I can't imagine you're going to get a new and innovative parade experience anytime after that. Like, you know exactly what you're going to get when you go to any kind of parade. They all process at the same speed. I wish we could vary the speeds of parades a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there's also, again, we've already discussed that planning is a queer activity. If a gay parade isn't planned properly, I don't feel like my community is representing itself at it, to the nth.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that Disney propaganda.
Thank you.
The fuck is the electric parade?
I know.
Do not say those words at me.
Well, the electric parade's pretty fun, innit?
Oh my
god. Why don't we hear another hot take?
Hi, Keep It. This is Izzy, and my lesbian hot take is that the two butler housekeeper people from the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap, Chessie and Martin, were not in love with each other. They were both gay. To think that Martin at all found women attractive is a crime against nature. And Chessie lived with Dennis Quaid and didn't think he was attractive, but thought that Martin was attractive and fell in love with Martin. And I don't know, that seemed like some sort of comp het bullshit where you know what, we're just gonna make her think she has to fall in love with this ugly British person and get together with him. No, that was stupid. I wholly believe the Parent Trap owes me compensation for taking those two gay people and putting them into a relationship just to tie up those loose ends. No, Chessie was a lesbian. That woman screamed dyke energy to me. And Martin was a gay. He's a gay man. That's just what it is. End of story. But they did me dirty. And I think about this once a week at minimum once a week since I saw that movie when I was a child. Like, I knew back then. Before I knew I was gay, I knew they were gay.
I care about this. I do. I care about this. The crush that I have been harboring for Lisa Ann Walter, who plays Chessie in The Parent Trap, is something I've been quietly living with for a long time. Because, you know, as a black person, to like a white person, I have to come out of the closet. And so I will just keep that quiet to myself. But I will say this. I don't agree with you. On the merit that you said that, God, I feel like I'm debating like in middle school again. When you said
Come on, Denzel.
Come on, LD. Come on, Frederick.
The great debater.
So you said that Chessie should have liked Dennis Quaid, but she had a working relationship with him. She lived in this man's house. They were friends for a long time. And even though she couldn't tell that the girls had switched, I believe she had a type of clairvoyance, because I think she respected the relationship, knowing that Dennis was spoken for. Dennis was going to get back with the woman of his dreams. So I feel like, I don't know. I just don't agree. I don't agree, at least on that side of it.
It does seem crazy to bring up the queerness of this movie and not bring up Elaine Hendricks, who I believe I think I was put on this earth maybe as a forum for Elaine Hendricks fandom to express itself. Just that kind of like cat-eyed, like sultry smile. Her presence. It's not that she looks exactly like her, but she reminds me of Liz Phair a little bit. There's that kind of like dark, cool, funny energy.
It's like a snazzy. It's like a spunky mouse. You know?
Yes. Right. Exactly.
And I mean, clearly, Elaine Hendricks is the queerest part of The Parent Trap, because she then stepped into one of the gayest of all iconic roles. She plays Alexis Carrington Colby currently on the reboot of Dynasty. The role originated by Joan Collins. So, you know, hello, that's history. That's history, love.
Also, I was wondering how long we were going to go before Ira mentioned Dynasty again. It'd been a while. It'd been a long time.
I think it's an appropriate amount of time, though. An appropriate amount of time. And also, in that movie, it's been a long time since I've seen The Parent Trap, pardon me, but doesn't she threaten to send Lindsay Lohan to Switzerland?
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. When I signed up to be gay, I wanted evil. I wanted controlling the futures of helpless underlings.
I mean, that's what was in the pamphlet. Yes. Right. All types of hats. That's what was in the pamphlet. So I just want follow through. I just want, you know.
Ira, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I truly disagree with the take as well. I get what Aida said about the working relationship. I mean, Dennis Quaid is hot. We all know this, okay? She acknowledged it as well, you know, but you don't cross that boundary, you know? This isn't Sabrina.
Speaking my language, yeah.
Anyway, what I think about this hot take is Nancy Meyer, love her, but not a queer icon.
True.
Anyway, thank you, viewers, for tuning in and letting us do queer hot takes with you again. And thanks for tuning in to John Lovett's Pride Bonanza.
And we're back.
We is back. Yes.
I forgot to. We had something to do. All right, and it's important, and I forgot to do it. But before that though, we got to update everybody on the fund. We are at almost $40,000, which we've raised in less than an hour and a half stream, which is incredible. Thank you to everybody who's donating. If you go to crooked.com/Pride Fund, and look, there are thousands of people watching this.
Hey, thousands.
Hey, thousands. Hey, thousands. And that means that if each of them were to give $10, well, you do the math.
Well, I'm a journalist, so I'm unable to do that. But it sounds like a lot of money.
Well, it sounds like a lot of money. Okay, so go to crooked.com/Pride Fund and you can donate. It's going to a bunch of really important groups raising money to help trans people, LGBTQ people in some of these incredibly important fights. They're on the ground right now, and that is why we wanted to do this. So please, please, please support those organizations with our fund. Your donation gets split equally, not split it equally.
I mean, same thing. It's fine. They knew what you meant.
For those asking, I have tried to put so much of this glitter makeup all over myself, and I think Zoom has a fucking homophobia problem because they are stripping it from the image. Also, we asked a lot of our friends, our special guests, to submit what they consider to be the gay baiting moments, the queer baiting moments of 2020, and they submitted some really funny stuff. So let's just roll that clip.
What has been the biggest gay bait of 2020? Janelle Monáe?
The fight scene between Hilary Swank and Betty Gilpin at the end of The Hunt.
It is, say it with me, Jason Momoa. Who are we kidding? Look at my ring. Listen, honey, for Jason Momoa, marriage who? Husband what? Anyways, all I'm saying is that Jason Momoa can have me any way he wants.
Megan Rapinoe?
Having the nerve to have like 45 versions of Drag Race on during this lockdown. I mean, we have All Stars, we have a new season, we have Secret Celebrity.
When the new Dracula series came out, and that hot Danish actor Klaus, I'm saying it wrong, I know, Bang is his last name. I mean, come on.
That guy with the legs from Normal People, that show?
I took a poll and it came down to a tie between Rob Lowe and Brian Michael Smith. Major gay bait.
The greatest gay bait of 2020 has to be Andrew Cuomo.
And so I said to Abe Vigoda, if you wanted me to push this car, you should have bought the tickets.
That's it? That's all you said?
No, that wasn't it. All right. We talked at length about his appearance in the film Look Who's Talking, where he played an incredibly old man and then went on to live for another basically 30 years. Travell.
Yes.
Before we go to our next segment, I've been told to inform everybody that if you go to crooked.com, you can get our Pride merch right now. We have our Gay for Democracy shirt. We have our We're Here, We're Queer, etc. There's a whole slogan. We're here, we're queer, we're doing our best. We have great Pride merch and a bunch of other stuff. You go to crooked.com, you can get that. I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight that because it's such a cool shirt and people worked hard on it. Okay. That's how I feel about it, Travell.
I'm glad you have feelings about it.
All right, next. Last but not least, from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, a place that I have adopted. That is my adopted state. Because in 2016, Pennsylvania famously let us down, all right? But they came back in 2018, all right? And they're poised to make sure we can win the White House in 2020. So Pennsylvania's proven me wrong, all right? And in Pittsburgh, they put French fries on sandwiches, which is something I'm a huge admirer of. But Travell, we have a drag performer from Philadelphia named Poochie Qween with a lip sync for the life of Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes. Let's go to Poochie Qween.
Hi, Philly Pride Parade. I'm Poochie, and I'm here to tell you to vote Democrat.
It's complicated, it always is. That's just the way it goes. Feels like I waited so long for this. I wonder if it shows. Head underwater, now I can't breathe. It never felt so good. 'Cause I can feel it coming over me. I wouldn't stop it if I could. Will I take some? The DJ is my bodyguard. You see the way he keeps me safe with the treble and the bass. I feel free enough to party hard. This stress won't go to waste. Feels like I own the place, yeah. VIP to be the boss. You see the way these people stare, watching how I fling my hair. I'm a dance floor lover. Baby, there's no other who do it like I do it, yeah. From here on out, I'll be your commander. No fear, no doubt, I'll provide the answer. Right now I command you to I'll be your commander. Now I command you to I'll be your commander. Jam-packed, so DJ, where you at? I know you got my back, so make that bass attack. Let's make these people move. You know I need some room to do what I do. I'm about to act a fool till the lights boom.
And don't forget, vote Democrat. Don't be a rat. Peace out.
Poochie
did that.
Qween.
Yes.
That was amazing. I love that. All right. Adopt Pennsylvania. Okay. That's what I did. All right. Go to votesaveamerica.com/adopt. You adopt Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. I know how to say it.
Do you?
I know how to say it, Travell. And when you do, you get to be on the coolest team of people fighting to make sure we get those electoral votes. We got to get them. Me, it's Poochie Qween. What state are you going to adopt, Travell?
I'm gonna go with North Carolina. I feel like I have to. The sweet tea there is great.
Great. Great. I'm taking that personally, but that's okay. That's
You'll be
okay.
all right.
In 2019, Travell,
Yes.
144 LGBTQ contenders won in 382 races across the country. In 2020, we saw the first openly gay candidate for president win the Iowa caucus. And we'll have more LGBTQ elected officials in office than ever before. We heard some of them during our breaking gay news segments, but also we wanted to hear more from them. So here it is. All right. We heard from LGBTQ elected officials from across the country sharing their gay news headlines of the year. Let's roll the clip.
Thank you to Crooked Media for putting together this virtual Pride Parade.
And for inviting me to share a quick thought about my favorite LGBTQ plus moment.
And I know that we're all disappointed that we can't get out there and be with one another physically, but that doesn't mean that we can't celebrate together virtually. We're gonna have to take some advice from Robin and keep dancing on our own for a while.
And my favorite piece of LGBTQ plus news has been by far the recent Supreme Court decision.
On June 15th, that's the day the Supreme Court announced its decision in the Bostock versus Clayton County case.
When the Supreme Court ruled that LGBTQ individuals are protected from discrimination in the workplace.
As somebody that served under Don't Ask, Don't Tell in the Air Force, I know exactly what that discrimination feels like.
No one deserves to be fired because of who they are or who they love.
Especially because it was joined by some, though not all, conservative justices. A reminder that this is not just an item of a liberal or gay agenda. This is American law and American values at stake.
That is transformative, and it brings me great joy.
Our work to ensure every LGBTQ person can live free from discrimination is far from over, though.
And we've got a lot of work to do to make sure we have that same level of equal protection now when it comes to our housing, our healthcare, our education, our criminal justice system.
So thank you to the Supreme Court. Thank you for hosting this. Happy Pride, and I'm excited to celebrate many more top LGBTQ moments in the future.
And we're back. Thank you to all the elected officials who participated. You know, I want to come back to where we started, Travell, because we started by talking about the relationship between pride parades and protests. You know, in Colorado, we've been reading about this horrific killing of someone named Elijah McClain, somebody who the police were called because someone claimed that he looked suspicious. He ends up losing his life in this incredibly awful and repugnant way. The officers were cleared of wrongdoing, and the DA's office declined to file charges. Last week, Governor Jared Polis, who we just saw in the video, he signed significant police accountability legislation, but the officers responsible haven't been fired or charged. Right now, a lot of people, millions of people, are demanding justice for Elijah McClain by calling on the Aurora PD and the DA's office to fire and charge the officers responsible, and urging those in power to join them in calling for that to happen. And I just wanted to make sure we let everybody know that you can join over 2 million people who have signed the petition at change.org. And I just, Travell, because I want to make sure that we're tying these things together. I just want to know what your thoughts are on this, because it was it is something that happened in 2019, but we're refocusing on it because we're in this moment of reckoning where we're realizing that we really were not holding police officers accountable and holding these systems accountable.
Yeah, I mean, I hear this story and I'm unfortunately reminded of, the death of Layleen Kubuleta Polanco in custody of police on Rikers Island, a Black Afro-Latina trans woman who died during Pride Month in Rikers Island last year. And there's so many of these instances where people have been wrongfully incarcerated, wrongfully killed, etc. And we don't know about it because of all of these different systems that are in play, right? That allow different representatives of government or the police to kind of gloss over these things. And so I'm glad that in this moment of reckoning, people are able to, at least try to get some justice for their loved ones.
Yeah. Okay. We wanted to talk about that. And I just also want to remind everybody that, to Travell's point, you can support the work of organizations that are really fighting for some of the most vulnerable people in the LGBTQ community, trans people of color who are often the victims not only of anti-queer bias, but also face the consequences of some of these systems that we've been talking about. So if you go to crooked.com/Pride Fund, the organizations, again, I just think it's worth remembering these are really serious groups kind of in the fight right now. The LGBTQ plus Freedom Fund, that posts bail to secure the safety and liberty of people in jail and immigration detention. The Trans Justice Funding Project, community-led funding initiative that supports grassroots trans justice groups, that supports grassroots trans justice run by and for trans people. The National Queer and Trans Therapists of Color Network, it's a mental health fund for queer and trans people of color. The Transgender Law Center offers legal resources to advance the rights of transgender and gender non-conforming people. The Marsha P. Johnson Institute, the mission is to protect and defend the human rights of Black transgender people. The Okra Project addresses the global crisis faced by Black trans people by bringing them home-cooked meals and resources. So those are some incredible groups that you can support. Your donation will split equally. We've raised, we're trying to hit 50,000. We're going to almost get there. We're 881 donors. That means a lot of you haven't donated. If you can, I know it's a hard time. If you can donate. And if you can donate for somebody who can't, right? I think.
Yes, why not? Spread the love around.
Why not? Now, before we end tonight, we have to now finally rule on our crafty queer contestants.
Yes.
Let's bring back our contestants. Let's get them on the blower. Let's get them on the horn. All right, we've got Mark and Brett. We've got Sheila. We've got Soren. All right. Let's start with Sheila. Sheila, you were on an embroidery journey. Let us see your monument to pride.
Oh yeah.
We have a beautiful embroidered rainbow White House for Pride 2020. It's fantastic. In an hour. That's I mean your fingers must be to the bone from this embroidery.
I'm surprised that I did it. I was inspired.
You were inspired by Pride and by the competition. All right, let's see. Soren, let's see what you've come up with.
I have this, which has life-saving medical intervention surrounded by a fence that keeps out trans people from getting what they need. So it's just kind of a memorial to all the people who don't get what they need and all the progress we still need to make.
Okay, Soren, thank you. That looks great.
Very creative, yeah.
Very creative. Thank you, Soren. Everybody, for Sheila, for Soren. All right, now to Mark and Brett. Let's see. Now there were two of you. All right, there were two of you. So you had twice the power. Let's see what you came up with.
Okay, so our concept was the LGBTQ contribution to the world is how much more beautiful the world is when everyone's embraced for being their authentic selves. So this is our monument.
Oh.
So
what are we looking at here?
So you're looking at bricks to represent Stonewall and the Black, brown, and trans contributions that we stand on the shoulders of and the sacrifices they've made for where we are today. And then
I have a quote from Bayard Rustin, who is a Black gay member of the civil rights movement. It
All
said,
right.
in every community need a group of angelic troublemakers.
So that
troublemakers.
What an incredible angelic troublemakers. What a great motto for Pride this year. I do not believe we can declare a winner because each of you contributed something so wonderful. They're incredible Pride monuments. Mark and Brett, Soren, Sheila, you've won. I mean, Travell, you can weigh in if you feel differently. If you would like to
I agree. You all win. We love to see it. Yes.
Yes.
So in honor of your new Pride monuments, which we will be installing throughout various, at various, what are those called when they take this, what's it called? What is it called? What is the statue on top of? What is this thing called? The bottom, the base?
A platform?
Pedestal? Whatever. The point is, throughout the American South, we will be erecting your monuments. This is legally binding. This is what's happening. Okay. Mark and Brett, Soren, Sheila, you have won.
Yes.
You have won. Oh, I forgot to say the name of the contest. We had a name for this contest, which is, ready? Are you ready? The name of this contest was Who Glued the First Stick at Stonewall?
Yeah.
All right.
Did you come up with that, John?
No, I didn't. I don't know who did. I wish I could take credit because it's so good. It's such a good name. All right, Mark and Brett, Soren, Sheila, you've won. We're going to get you some incredible Pride merch to say thank you for playing and for being part of our contest. You're all winners in our eyes and in the eyes of the thousands of people watching this in real time who are blown away by your creativity and Pride statues. Now turn your cameras off. I'm done with all three of you.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. That was amazing.
That was cute.
Travell, thank
John,
you so much.
Thank you so much
of this stream. Thank you to everybody. We are at $47,000. We're almost at 50. We're so grateful. Keep donating to our fund. Thank you to everybody who participated. Thanks to everybody who watched. Thank you to Travell for co-hosting with me. Thank you to the whole team at Crooked, Matt DeGroot, EJ Baker, Jordan Silver, Elisa Gutierrez, Brian Semmel, Travis Helwig, Alexis Relaford, Elijah Cohn, Narmal Coney, and Milo Kim, and Shannon Joy Rogers, who helped make this all happen. Thanks to Ira and Lewis and Aida for participating and being part of the crew. Thanks to all of our special guests for submitting videos. Thanks to our elected officials who joined us. Thanks to our breaking gay news primary almost winners who will be winners by the time this is over. And thank you most of all to Travell for co-hosting with me.
Thank you, John, for having me. I hope it has been prideful and stupendous for you.
It has. It has.
Okay. I thought you were going to say no, it wasn't, and then we were going to have an issue.
After all of this, could you imagine if I felt that way?
Yes, I can.
Travell, Anderson, everybody, thank you. And thank you all for watching and for being part of this stream. Have a great Pride and have a great night. Crooked.com/Pride Fund. We're out. Turn it off.